This is your host, MongoSlade. Today we're going to talk about the hubbub of Bayley reading a book by Jordan Peterson. That is correct. Auntie Pam read a book by Jordan Peterson, posted it on her Instagram, and now everybody who thinks they own the politics of pro wrestlers or that they own pro wrestlers are upset. And we're going to go through that. So let's get it started. So Auntie Pam posted a picture on her Instagram of her reading a book by Jordan Peterson. Now, what is the book? I believe it is 12 Rules for Life, or maybe it is the second in that series of rules. But the passage that she actually underlined is called The Utility of the Fool. And it says, quote, "It is useful to take your place at the bottom of a hierarchy. It can aid in the development of gratitude and humility. Gratitude. There are people whose expertise exceeds your own, and you should be wisely pleased about that. There are many valuable niches to fill, given the many complex and serious problems we must solve. The fact there are people who fill those niches with trustworthy skill and experience is something for which to be truly thankful. Humility. It is better to presume ignorance and invite learning than to assume sufficient knowledge and risk the consequent blindness. It is much better to make friends with what you do not know than with what you do know, as there is an infinite supply of the former, but a finite stock of the latter, when you are tightly boxed in or cornered all too often by your own." So, he's just absolutely talking about spit roasting trans people in that, in that article, right? It's 100% murder to the Jews. You know, I was offended by all the N words dropped in that passage. It is, hey, you're probably better off learning from people above you because it'll teach you something, and it'll also make you thankful that those people exist. But here is the interesting thing. This is the one thing I want to highlight because this is so relevant to this situation here. It is better to presume ignorance and invite learning than to assume sufficient knowledge and risk the consequent blindness. Because that is exactly what's going on right now. Everybody thinks they know everything, and therefore they own wrestlers, and now Bayley is MAGA, apparently. Jordan Peterson is not even American. So before we even get into whether Jordan Peterson is even that extreme, which he isn't, he's pretty moderate. You know, he's not saying anything that's outside of the ordinary. What would have been normal 15 to 20 years ago seems to be extremely unacceptable today, but whatever. Now, Bayley has a physical copy of this book. Either she was gifted it or she actually sought out and bought it. So it's not like it's an accident. And she's honestly reading it. So that's fine. And the book in and of itself is supposed to be like a self-help book. Teaches you how to appreciate the world and appreciate yourself and how to better yourself in the world. That's what the 12 Rules for Life is for. The other book that came out after that, I have not read it. I don't know what's in it. All right. I can just tell you the 12 Rules for Life. There is nothing in there that is objectionable. You can go through that book with a fine-tooth comb. The only thing you're going to look for is if you want to get upset, you'll find stuff to get upset about. But people deliver self-help in different ways. And anyway, he comes across as being a very well-researched, knowledgeable individual. But he doesn't come to the conclusions that certain people like. Ultimately, and this is the launching pad for us to finally get into the subject, you don't own wrestlers. You can't tell wrestlers what to think. You should stop trying to tell wrestlers what to think. People are different than you. There is this new wave, and I'm not sure how recent it is, that if somebody is different from you, politically or whatever, they must be destroyed. They must be, reamed and cursed on Twitter. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, like, these people yesterday had nothing negative to say about Bayley. Nothing. The people just say nothing negative about Bayley. And now all of a sudden, she's overrated. She sucks. Yada, yada, yada. And she's MAGA. She's a MAGA mommy all of a sudden. It is absolutely absurd. In George Orwell's 1984, they used to have what's called a 2 minutes hate. It is where the tyrants take over the screen and then they give you something to actually be angry about for 2 full minutes, where you yell and scream at this enemy of the state on the screen. And it seems every other day we have a 2 minutes hate where somebody new is upon the Summer Jam screen for us to yell at on Twitter. And it's ludicrous, for the reasons that I've previously given. People are different from you. I mean, just imagine how narcissistic it is and how tyrannical it is for you to think that you should own every single person you come across. Every single person you come across should think like you. Every single person that's on television should think like you. And they've been acting like this about, Lacey Evans for months now. They were throwing a parade because Lacey Evans quit, got fired, however that went. And I'm saying to myself, like, wow, how dull do they, how much authority do these people want? I said it before, I say it again. You want all of academia, all of cable television, all of the sports networks, all of the sports teams, all of the sports leagues, all of the players, all of the administrators. You want everybody on your side. There is no way you want anybody to disagree with you about anything. And you think that's realistic. And you think that's how the world should work. You're childish. And there's a lot of childish, small-brained people using Twitter.com. They're very low IQ. Very low IQ. So let's get into some of those low IQ individuals. All right. Bayley reading Jordan Peterson. Jesus fucking Christ. The jokes about the Performance Center being a MAGA recruiting ground being more and more true by the day. This person continues, not gonna lie, not to get all parasocial, but I'm legitimately bummed about this one. Bayley was one of the main reasons I got back into wrestling in 2016, after lapsing for so many years. So this kind of stings. That she's reading a book? She can't read a book? Oh my goodness. I would hate to see, if you was to see her internet searches, you might lose your mind. She's reading a book. So we didn't ask her what her opinion is on Jordan Peterson, by the way. We didn't get that far. Nobody asked, hey, what is her opinion on Jordan Peterson? Maybe she hates 99% of this book and she likes this one passage. That's not allowed. She's not allowed to even look in the book, let alone read it. Why does she even have it, by the way? Why was the book even printed, by the way? Why is he even allowed to have a computer? It's ridiculous. Look at this. This person is having a full-blown depressive meltdown because Bayley opened a book. Come on. Here's the thing. At a certain point, do we consider them jokes? It's just flat true. I feel like Sammy is the only guy I've seen spent lots of time at the PC have good politics. Good politics. That means you have bad politics. Let me tell you something. Politics is bad in general. Because politics, by its very nature, is about trying to control other people. It's bad. All right, so here's another one. I highly doubt Bayley did extensive research on the author before picking up the book. But she should have been smarter with her choices. It's upsetting that she would read something from that author. I hope she addresses it. Also, stop bringing up Mercedes. She is her own person. This is ludicrous. Oh no, Bayley didn't do her research project on this author. What? I'm fairly sure she knows who Jordan Peterson is. If she went out and bought a physical copy of his book, pretty sure she knows who it is. And let's say she doesn't. She was gifted a copy of his book. She opened it and read it and was like, oh, this is very interesting. There's nothing in there about you should burn trans people alive, call black people the N-word and spit in their face. You should piss in gay people's lemonade or nothing. There's nothing in that book to be objective, to be upset about. I can guarantee it. You are upset at his Twitter account, but it ain't got nothing to do with his book. Here is one of the response. Okay, people expecting to do a deep dive into every single person they buy a book, movie, song for is getting more and more ridiculous. It's bad enough dealing with the insane MAGA cult. Let's not have progressive going off the deep end too. Are you insane? This is absolute projection. Nobody cares about this crap more than progressives. There's very few conservatives that really live by, die by the entire concept of being outraged for a living. Maybe some of the Daily Wire guys, they live by, die by getting outraged for a living. But most conservatives, they are too busy doing something else. They don't care about what books you're reading. They care about what books you're bringing their children. Like if you want to have like some kind of gay sex book in a school, if you want to read gay sex books in your own time, they don't care. But if you want to bring it to an elementary school, okay, now it's a problem, and I don't see anything wrong with that. It's not like, Bayley is, standing on the street corner telling everybody to clean their room. She's reading a book and she liked the passage in the book and she wanted to share it. This is bizarre. It is absolutely bizarre. Here's another one. The best part about Bayley showing y'all how dumb she is will be everyone thirsting for her again by 8 p.m. Friday. Well, guess what, brother? I have not stopped. I haven't stopped. It's the thirst is still, my mouth dry as fuck right now. Right now. Here's another one. Bayley, when she saw the WWE MAGA first team All-Pros lost their leader in Lacey Evans. She says, I just know she wants to change damage control to MAGA control. This is absolutely insane. She wants to call it MAGA control. I don't get these people. I'm not getting it. Not understanding them. I don't understand them at all. Why? It's just a book. Why? Brother, take one scroll through Jordan Peterson's Twitter and come back. Fuck Bayley for that shit. People will claim to be LGBTQ plus allies, then will support a fucking loser like Jordan Peterson in this next breathe. Fuck you if you're a shameless stan defending her right now. Oh my goodness. If you're a shameless stan. Imagine raging like this. Oh my God. Oh, this one is nuts. This one is nuts. Most successful people are awful. Every piece of media we consume comes from the worst people imaginable. You literally cannot censor yourself from these things. Using X makes you just as fault as her from reading that book. Most successful people are awful. Ah, yes, the old virtuous loser theory. That only people who are absolute losers are good people. If you become successful in any way, well, it's because you're a terrible person anyway. That's how you become successful. They will have you believe that everybody who becomes a success is some kind of psychopath or a narcissist or whatever. This is a recurring theme from the progressive mind meld, by the way. To be a multimillionaire or to be successful in business or whatever, you have to be a psychopath. You have to be a narcissist to be a CEO. You can Google that stuff if you want to, and you'll probably see loads of American Psychological Association articles and big think pieces about how everybody who, is a CEO is more likely to be a psychopath. They don't actually go to prisons and look and see who the real psychopaths are, but they'll redefine psychopath or redefine narcissist and all this kind of stuff. Because just like the noble savage, you have the virtuous loser. That if you see a bum in the street, it's because, well, he was too righteous to make it up the ladder. He's not crazy enough. He's not cutthroat enough. He'd rather sit around and drink Jim Beam all day. That's the moral thing to do. These people are idiots. And it's humorous how stupid they are. Now some idiot gonna post a picture of Bayley and Sasha hanging out with Teddy Hart. Oh my God. Oh God. She's been playing in your face all this time. She's been this secret evil Power Rangers villain the whole time. You just wasn't paying attention. See, she was hanging out with Teddy Hart and petting his cats. Oh, it's not like he's related to one of her coworkers or anything. Oh my goodness. What the hell? What is up with these people? Why do you think you own folks, man? Stop thinking you own people, please. Apparently, this picture of Bayley, Sasha, and TJ with Teddy Hart is 5 years old. This is from like 2018, and people are posting it like it's, for starters, new, and secondly, like it's a big deal. What is going on? I don't know, man. This is very bizarre. This is very bizarre. Yes, I found out why this is a problem. A public figure reading, posting, and therefore endorsing him is bad. Oh, she's supposed to read it in the dark, in a corner of her house, very quietly, and then never share with anybody what she came across. And here's the crazy thing. You could read the passage. Again, I read it to you verbatim. There's nothing in it to be mad about. They're mad because they know who Jordan Peterson is. That's the thing. She's not endorsing everything that he's said. She likes this passage. We don't know if that's the only passage she's ever read in the book. We don't know. Instead of trying to probe or try to find out, which probably still ain't your business, but at least it's, positive. It's, being inquisitive, being curious. But the idea that we're going to go through all of this because you don't like who the author is pretty silly to me. Again, it's just silly to me. So I learned something from reading all of these responses. Apparently Liv Morgan was reading a book herself. She can read too, apparently. Oh my goodness. It's just a pandemic of people reading. And she was reading a book by a person by the name of Colleen Hoover. And there is an extensive thread on why Colleen Hoover is problematic. I will read you the first tweet about this Colleen Hoover individual. Her book's male love interest leads are toxic, abusive, and controlling. These negative traits are then portrayed as sexy, dominant, or charismatic as an attempt to excuse and romanticize this kind of behavior. Her books are centered around men abusing the main character. So it's a fictional book, and you're just not allowed to read what you want these days, man. I think we should probably just move. I think we should get a life. This is the very definition of going outside to touch grass. You definitely need to feel the sun on your face at some point, man. You need to feel the touch of a woman or something. Even if you are a woman, you need you need female friends. You need something else to talk about. But this is our fault. Because a lot of us have turned our lives into a women's gossip circle. That's pretty much what Twitter is and Facebook and stuff like that. Like, I got off Facebook when my mama got on it. Because my mama don't do nothing but go on there and find stuff to talk about. She's a gossiper. So, I'm saying I am in no way going to turn my life into some women's gossip circle. So I got off that joint. They ain't posting nothing else on there. And my Twitter account, that's why I don't do faces and stuff like that, because anybody turn it into a gossip circle. All right, I come out here to have fun, and these people have turned Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Reddit and everything into basically a gossip circle, and it's embarrassing. You're trapped in a teenage girl's nightmare right now to get canceled on Twitter. It's a teenage girl's nightmare, and why even participate in that? I don't see the point. There's no point in participating in that. So some guy who writes for Polygon and Paste Magazine and has pronouns in his bio, so he's very smart. He says, quote, "Pretty funny that the best defense anyone can muster about Bayley reading Jordan Peterson is, I don't know, maybe she's very stupid and easily conned. You ever think of that?" Well, most people are just saying they don't seem to care. Like, you have to try very hard to care about this. You got to be trying pretty hard, I think. I think you either got to be terminally online or you have to be trying pretty hard to get upset about this. It just doesn't make sense. Just for, shits and giggles, I decided to take a look at this, and it's another person with pronouns in their bio who claims to be a cis male bisexual but aromantic. So this person doesn't feel romantic but is somehow bisexual. Again, these people are they're test cases, you know what I'm saying? This person says people can be cool in a lot of aspects and still be bigoted. People can be bigoted towards their own people. People can buy into bigoted agendas because non-bigoted parts of those agendas speak to them. You know, it's just okay. You can't really separate author from their work in a self-help book like you can with a fictional work like Harry Potter. The author's point of view and mindset is the product they are selling. At least I agree with that. You know, fictional work is fictional. So he continues, I have read 12 Rules, actually. It's a pretty famous self-help book. Granted, it is not the most problematic Jordan Peterson work. It is pseudo-intellectual work, because he spelled intellectual wrong, that is foundational gateway towards a more fucked ideology. IDIOLOGY, by the way, which is pretty well known in 2023. Keep in mind that we aren't having this conversation because she read the book. We're having this conversation because she promoted a guy who is, among many things, is proudly transphobic, believes in the Handmaid's Tale-esque family planning, men's rights extremes, etc. He believes in Handmaid's Tale's family planning. So you should not plan your family. Is that your argument? Oh my God. I think I'm not going to defend Jordan Peterson. There's no point to it. I mean, the guy did a great job defending himself against most of this stuff, you know. But this is what happens when you read headlines. And you know, though, that much. Like, he is pretty probably transphobic. But so am I, you know. Oh, you're surprised. You know, when he called the doctor who did the surgery on Elliot Page or whatever, a butcher, that got people really upset. But this doctor cut off perfectly healthy breasts, which, you know, doesn't really, it's not normal. You know, it's not normal to amputate people's body parts and you don't need to. You know, it doesn't sound very normal to me. But, you know, to these folks, that's normal. It's normal, completely and totally normal to want to cut off perfectly healthy body parts for no apparent reason other than you think it shouldn't be that way. Yeah, it's perfectly normal. Okie dokie, if you say so. Here's someone who isn't quite sure how they feel about this. I love Bayley and I want her to educate herself and know why that author is not someone she should read from. There's 3 exclamation points there. But posting a screenshot of that story only to cancel her like you have been waiting for it, it's weird and very jobless behavior. It's very jobless behavior for you to try to cancel Auntie Pam. Look, yeah, buddy. You know, it's a very unemployed behavior. I absolutely agree with that. Here's someone who is actually trying to be funny, but it's actually pretty sensible. Everyone who watches a company owned by Trump's best friend, his wife, the former Trump cabinet member, and their daughter and son-in-law, the Trump campaign contributor, are upset at a wrestler for consuming content made by a right-wing personality. WWE fans, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's a really good point. Can't argue with that point. If Bayley reading a book turned her into Super Hitler, then but then again, they have no issues with hating Vince. Hating Vince is mainstream, bro. You know, hating the McMahons is pretty mainstream. You can't get no extra points for that. You get 0 extra points for hating Vince. That doesn't really do much of anything for your virtue score. To get a good virtue score, you have to try to cancel somebody who, you know, falls just short of perfect, you know. Here's another one. Bayley's Instagram story shows she's reading Jordan Peterson. Peterson's comments and assertions over the years have been sexist, homophobic, and transphobic. Claimed marginalized people have a victim mentality. Popularized the mythical cultural Marxism social enemy. Well, oh wow. Oh brother. Yeah, because we gotta figure out a way to get upset. Have fun with this. Here's one that's even more, it's a little bit crazier. Bayley reading Jordan Peterson is a good reminder that wrestlers are generally fucking idiots. Weird jock types who get dropped on their heads for a living, hanging out almost exclusively with other weird jock types. Have you not seen like the wrestling roster lately? How many of these people would you think literally are jocks? Like, the term jock makes you think of like high school quarterback. You know, maybe John Cena gives away those vibes. Randy Orton, absolutely. But Bayley is in the locker room with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Guys who had like Chris Jericho posters on. Those guys were not jocks. Trust me. If they were, they'd be in better shape. You know, if they were, they wouldn't have been wrestlers for 25 fucking years. They'd have been playing some other sport first. These people are, wrestling is not full of jocks anymore. Maybe it used to be. Back when guys used to go into the military, they do that now. They, you know, some people go into the military and come into wrestling. Some people come from sports, college football or something like that. But a lot of the wrestlers today are people who grew up fans. They're fans who got into business. They're not the weird jock types that this guy is talking about. I can absolutely guarantee you that they aren't. Most of them have no athletic background outside of pro wrestling. And that's it. You know, these are not, you know, guys sitting in the gym all day, you know, with hitting the bench and all that. Most of these guys don't even go to the fucking gym. Have you looked at Raw and SmackDown lately? My God, don't watch an episode of AEW Dynamite. I see a motherfucking muscle on there at one point. Every time you see somebody with muscles on Dynamite, they're losing. Muscles mean you're a loser on Dynamite, for Christ's sake. Here's another one because it never seems to stop. Bayley reading Peterson is the latest case of how many of these is it going to take before most fans realize the majority of wrestlers are at best dumb, at worst horrible people who we shouldn't revere or put on a pedestal. I mean, if you want to be honest, you shouldn't put most people on a pedestal. Most people are not. All people are going to fall short of glory. Let's put it like that. There ain't no perfect person walking around here. So if you're upset that somebody read a book and all of a sudden they're dumb because they read a book, how dare you read a book? You're a dummy. At worst, you're a horrible person. No, pedophiles are horrible. All right? People who think differently, they can be dumb, I guess. There's plenty of stupid people running around here. But I don't remember talking to Bayley about her politics or knowing what she believes. We just know that she read a book from an author that you don't like. I'm pretty sure they read all kinds of stuff from people that I don't like. I don't care. It is what it is. Here's an interesting one. Bayley is wrong for reading Jordan Peterson because she's clearly rich enough to pay someone to clean her room for her. Well, that is very true. That is very, very true. She can do that. The amount of caffeinated retard that's been going on, it applies to both sides. Here's a Bayley male supporter. It's what you guys didn't see was Bayley shaking her head the whole time reading that Jordan Peterson book, letting us know she didn't agree with this. So she's These people are instantly retarded. I don't get it. It's so stupid. Oh my God. All right. So let's close on this one. Bayley is officially the worst horsewoman. The response to this was, nah, it's still Charlotte. And it says, the response is, Charlotte ain't supporting the book of a transphobic fucking fascist on Instagram. This is a 19-year-old guy with pronouns in his bio who claims to be bisexual. I am floored that these children are acting like children. Again, we are living in the nightmare of some high school junior who can't seem to get her life together and wants to be liked by people who are destined to never like you because they'll always find something to complain about. But this time it's because Bayley cracked open a book they don't agree with. So she's a bad person. Nope. Not in my book. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Skin tone, so why attach yourself and piggyback the wealth you didn't earn or lack your yourself, I'm telling you to own up to your own success and failures. It's a reason why these